Up, guys? It is the sports nerd Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Walker Report, part of NGSC Sports. Guys, remember the website, it's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. We are also part of Mancini Media, the Game Winners Sports Network, Snowman Multimedia Sports, and the Game Winners Sports Alliance Incorporated. Happy Thursday, guys. Welcome in. I apologize, guys. Haven't been here the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, I was on vacation, and I got the norovirus while I was on vacation with my family. Not a fun thing you want to go through. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a digestive bug that makes you come out both ends in a way. I'm not going to get into too much graphic detail. And last week, guys, some idiot cutting the grass here at the condo that I live in cut the cable line and cut the cable and internet line, and it took them 2 or 3 hours to get the cable fixed. That's why I wasn't on last week, but we're back on, guys. I do have 2 more football games. One of them is happening tomorrow night, so I have 2 high school football games left to call. Like I said, I have 2 left. One is happening tomorrow night. The show, guys, has 2 sponsors. Creating ZenSpaces.com. It is the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida, for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you and adding comfort to your life. Guys, remember, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. We are also sponsored by FunWags.com. Born from a near tragedy when the FunWag mascots had a reaction from a store brand treat, fueled to succeed with treats made from 3 to 5 ingredients you can pronounce. The FunWags mascots invite you to try fun-wags.com because our fur babies deserve the best. Head over to fun-wags.com to get your treats. And yes, our fur babies do deserve the best. Welcome in, guys. Again, happy Thursday. Let me bring in my 3 great co-hosts. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hey, welcome back.
How's it going, guys?
All right.
And we have Ghost Gerald.
I'm here.
I hear someone saying they're here.
Yes,
That's
they're
me,
here.
Fred.
They're here.
Oh, fine.
We're back.
I see how it is.
Here's Johnny.
Good movie.
It is Halloween, this week, so why
Come on, I mean, I
Right.
just
Good movie.
talking
One of my
about
favorite horror movies. So
Ram.
my favorite horror movie. Oh wow, that's Child's Play. Child's Play is my favorite horror movie. I would have to say. So
I don't do horror movies. I'm sorry.
I really don't. I think
I'm
The Shining's right up there.
Yes,
tomorrow. I'm going to see Five Nights at Freddy's on Saturday night. So
Oh,
I got some of my friends are going to see that tomorrow night.
yeah,
okay.
that's a video game. Anybody who doesn't know, that's a video game.
Yeah.
That's a game.
Yeah, we should next year we should do horror moments in sports
Yeah, we
for
can
Halloween. We do that for our Halloween show. Kind of little bit rushed to do it this week, but next year we should.
If you want to, but we can do it next week because
For Halloween.
Halloween's on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We can do it next week.
Okay, we can do it next week.
We can do it next week if you guys want to, because it's Halloween's Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we technically are still in the same week as the holiday. Well, not everybody celebrates the holiday, but
I don't.
not everybody
This
celebrates.
includes some of my podcasting shows, okay, can be consider that. Oh.
Now, some religions call it a pagan holiday, and
Yes.
whatever. That's you believe what you believe. I'm not telling what you should believe in and what you shouldn't believe in.
Right.
So, all right, guys. Where do you guys? I mean, I have a lot of notes. I know there's been a lot of things going on since we haven't been on in a couple weeks. Sending my thoughts and prayers out to Dick Buckus' family. The legend passed away a couple weeks
Earlier
ago.
in the month. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the monsters of the Midway.
One of the all-time
defense-
greats.
The defense that was dominating in the 80s. Him and, Fridge Perry and just a bunch of good defensive players on that Chicago Bears team.
And also, Brad, you missed what James and Lou did to me on my show last week.
Yes.
Okay.
They sung happy birthday to me.
Yes, happy birthday, Gerald, by the way. Yep. Hey.
Congratulations on being old.
I didn't go that far. I didn't go that far.
I know you want to.
No, not on your best day.
But you on your worst day.
Yeah.
$20 is $20.
I got somebody worse than you over here.
And her birthday was the other day. So happy birthday to your wife, too, by the way.
Oh.
Yep. She's about as old as I am. She's got her headphones
You
on
sent-
music, so I'm safe right now.
Have you signed up for the ARP?
I think shit, she just heard me.
Oh, shit. He did not go that far. He did not just say that on the air.
Yes, he
He
did.
did not just say that.
Oh, yes, he did.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, man. We swing up from the fences on right out of the gate.
That's fine with me. I'm not the one who's been the line of fire. So that's fine with me.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Well, how about
That's okay. I'll just go out and I'll make it up to her later somehow.
Fair enough.
Now she turned 43 on the 24th.
Okay.
like them younger women, huh?
34. I'm going backwards. And that
34.
in that case, I'm 5 then. That's unbelievable.
You said. Yeah, nobody gonna be arguing with you on that.
Oh,
I'll go suck a cactus, Adam.
man! Wow, man! I need to take 2 weeks off every once in a while to come back and get the roast going. Jesus,
Hey,
I have to be roasting people.
That's
What
what
is
we
going
do.
on? What is going on now? Jesus. Anything else you guys want to get out before we get to sports talk? Or do you guys want to have a fun show for the rest of the night? Because we can sit here and do this all night long. I don't care. Don't bother me.
I think all our shows are fun, man. I have a great time. I'm just busting Joe's balls. That's all, man.
and I know,
Yeah.
that Adam and Lou, I know they like my show too.
Yeah, I have a great time. I know. I've never had a bad experience.
Like I said, we're just 4 more on sitting around talking sports.
Hey, watch about
Indeed.
it once.
Well,
Yeah,
let me
it's-
say that 3 morons
is.
and 1 comedian.
More, huh? I like that.
I guess
I like that. I like
Shall we start with baseball?
Why not?
Why not? The World Series is set.
I cannot wait. My Rangers finally made it.
Yes.
MLB is shitting the bed right now because they did not want. They did not want Texas and Arizona in the playoffs. They wanted Philly
No.
and Houston for the TV markets.
Yeah.
So they
Oh.
are like shitting
I
themselves.
was
Oh,
telling
shit.
Atlanta lost. That's when I shit the bed.
They wanted Houston
Well,
and Philly.
Absolutely.
or Houston. I think they wanted Houston and Atlanta.
That's what they really wanted until the Phillies took them out.
But
Their second.
and I think if you want to see sports not being scripted, if you have any concerns about sports being scripted, let this be a lesson to you that they're not. They're not.
Correct.
Because if they were scripted and it didn't matter, it was all a work, Atlanta and Houston would have made the World Series.
Yes.
I mean, it would be Boston and New York and the ALCS every other year, and they trade off because those are the 2 most popular. It'd be Boston and New York and LA every year
Yes.
because those are the 3 most popular franchises in baseball. If you want evidence that sports isn't scripted, look at the World Series this year. Who had Arizona and Texas in the World Series in May
No.
Nobody.
at the All-Star break?
I kept saying it was gonna be. I kept saying it was gonna be the Braves. Didn't I tell y'all? I
You
see
did.
Atlanta making
Sure.
the World
We
Series.
all four of us picked Atlanta to go to the World Series. Every
Right.
one of us did.
And look what happened.
Well, I said Atlanta. Well, I said be wary of the playoffs though, because this is what happens in the playoffs. You get 3 games. You got to be perfect for 3 games, and you can't have you can't have 3 bad games. In July you can have a bad week. You can go 1-6 in July, right the ship, and in a week in July you can go 1-6, 2-7. You can have a bad week in July. There's no margin for error in October. 0. You can't have a bad week in
No.
But it's funny that you say that because Arizona had a bad July. They said that. I watched when they beat Philadelphia. They said that Arizona had they only won like 15 games in the month of July. They were one of the worst teams in all of Major League Baseball. They only won 84 games, guys. 84 games, and they're in the World Series. 2 years ago, they lost 121. So there you go. That's how much they've turned that ball club around.
Right.
So,
and that's
This Ranger team does not have a repeat of the 2011 season.
ooh, you better hope not.
No.
and
Series.
and so often we see this in sports where a team has a dominant regular season and then they come out super flat in the playoffs
Right.
and they get bounced in the first round. I mean, we see this all the time. Whether it was Atlanta this year, or the Bruins in the NHL playoffs last year, or the Lightning in 2019 when they come out super flat against or 2018
Yeah.
No, we
against the
lost
Jackets.
first round. We won the President's Trophy that year, and then lost 4 games in a row to Columbus, and then got stronger and won back-to-back Stanley Cups. But yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. But you can go flat. I think Atlanta's done that the last 2 years. They run into Philadelphia. They're buzzsaw in the playoffs. I don't think they want to be in the.
And it takes so much energy to win 110, 115 games.
Yeah.
To be perfect night in and night out. To win 100, I think they were like 104, something like that. High 90s, low hundreds, and you spend it all in the regular season, have no gas left for the playoffs. No, you're just done in October. You're spent, and you run into a Philadelphia or an Arizona, LA, the Dodgers. They were right there. They were chasing they were chasing Atlanta for the number 1 overall, and they were high 90s, low hundreds too. And they get in against an Arizona team that's got nothing to lose. They ain't got nothing to play for. They ain't got nothing to lose. If they get bounced in the first round, then that's cool. It's a fun story. It's a good season. We'll build on it, and we'll come back stronger next year. You got nothing to lose. LA spent all this money. Atlanta spent all this money. New York both New York teams spent a shit ton of money. Yeah. And Boston spends money. Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay. Oh God. Baltimore. They're spending money now. They've got a good team, and yet you get into the playoffs where money doesn't buy titles. The chemistry and will to win. The best team will beat the best collection of individual talent. time in and time out. And I remember in '03 when Colorado loaded up. And they went and got Solani, and they got Korea, and they had Sakic and Forsberg, and Law was on it. It was his retirement tour. And when they got in the playoffs against the Wild, it was it's somebody else's night, and they lose in the second round to Minnesota. And you see that throughout the annals of history of sports history of these great teams, these great individually talented teams that load up every year. There's usually one or two every year in every sport. And they go out and they make a big splash in the free agency market. They sign a whole bunch of talent away from everybody. And yet we're in October, and it's yet again it's the best team. It's Texas and Arizona in the World Series. And I think it's going to be a great series. I think Texas in 6.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think it will be a good series. I have the D-backs in 7 actually. I know the last time that they were in the World Series, unfortunately they beat the Yankees in 2001 after 9/11. But I remember that very, very well, because that was when sports was coming out of another tragedy, a worldwide tragedy. So,
but again, great. It makes my point. It makes my.
You have the Bucks winning tonight or the Bills?
I think I picked the Bills. Who's winning right now, by the way?
Okay.
Kickoff just started.
Because the Lightning are up 5-0 over the Sharks in the second period. So.
Wow.
I got the game on. They just ran their goals. So.
Yeah, the Sharks are in a good team.
Wait for the Ranger game to start at 9.
I'll be at the Kraken game on Monday.
No, that's the only team you haven't seen yet.
Oh no, I already saw him already, but I saw him last year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Every NHL as a Lightning fan, yeah.
Whoa, Baker, you almost had that one kicked off, buddy.
Well, I think we want to move on to the NHL now.
Yeah, again, the season just kicked off. So again, just with the NBA, same thing. The season's just started. I mean, I know down here, the Lightning, everybody was hitting the panic button. Obviously, we don't have our goaltender. He's out for months. He had back surgery. So
he's gonna miss what, 3 to 4 months?
2 months. He'll be back in
2 months.
Either late November or early December. So
you figure about You figure about 2 weeks for him to get back into game speed.
Absolutely.
So mid-December he should be back to form. You think?
Yeah,
I would think so.
I kind of feel like this is just a tread water kind of portion of the season. If you can stay 500, and get your goalie back midway through December, it's like making a trade without having to move anybody.
Yes.
I think if he can come back and be healthy, I don't see why Tampa Bay can't make another run at it.
Can I be honest with you? I think the window for us is closing, though, because we have a lot of aging players. Stamkos, Hedman, they're not spring chickens anymore. And Stamkos is due for a contract. He's up for a contract. I know down here they were arguing which contract was more important, Steven Stamkos with the Lightning or Mike Evans with the Buccaneers.
Steven Stamkos.
You can argue either way. I mean, there's an argument for both. I would say Stamkos, but I think Stamkos will get signed. I don't know about Mike Evans. I don't know what kind of space the Bucks have left.
Yeah, I would say in the grand scheme of things, over the long-term health and success of the program, I would say Stamkos, because I think the Bucks are kind of in a downturn at this point. I think the glory years are behind the Bucks at this point, as short-lived as they were, and I think the Lightning can build back and keeping Stamkos for 2 or 3 more years. I think if you could sign into a cap friendly 4-year deal to keep him in Tampa Bay for the long term, I think that would be ideal. It depends on the money too, because if he wants 20 million a year or 25 million a year as an aging veteran, you're gonna end up you're gonna end up in 2028 with a whole bunch of old guys that you've still got to pay big money to that you can't offload to rebuild to restart the 5-year to start a 5-year rebuilding plan. Honestly, I think
he's only making 12 or 13 million as we speak. So I don't think there's any way it could be. I mean, I see him. It would be great to see him finish his career with the Lightning. He was drafted here. I remember when me and my former roommate, and we were sitting watching TV when the NHL lottery came out, and the little ping pong balls are bouncing around. And when they announced that the Kings had the number 2 pick, we knew we got the number 1 overall pick. We knew we were getting Stamkos. So, and it's been great. I mean, obviously he's had injuries that have, in a way impacted his career. But I see him, we have 4 and 26 retired. I see 91 and 77 also being retired when those boys hang it up. And, we might see other numbers, but I would venture to say you'll see 91 and 77 someday down the road to join 4 and 26. If anyone out there doesn't know who 26 are, that's Vinny Lecavalier and Martin St. Louis. For anyone that's not a Lightning fan and doesn't know hockey, Vinny was our pick. I think he wasn't was he our first overall pick? I don't remember who we picked. What year we drafted Vinny? I know he was our first round pick, whatever year it was.
Yeah, I know. He was like a top 5 pick too.
Yeah, we picked
him and St. Louis were both top 5 picks, if not both number 1s. I don't remember. But getting I don't know really if you want to lock either of those guys up with the situation that both teams find themselves in right now, where your stars are aging out, and and finding yourself up to an age. I know Stamkos is 32 now, going to be 32, somewhere in there, and the long term health of the program. You got to think about do we lock Stamkos up or do we move him? And if we lock him up now, are we going to be able to move him in 2 or 3 years when he's on his last leg and looking to make one more run in the cup? Can we make another? Can we keep him and continue to make runs at the cup, or do we need to move him this year before he comes up so that we can get value for him and not just have him walk for no value, lose him anyway for nothing?
We have Braden Point, Kucherov. They're young guys.
Right.
But again, the 2 main core players are Stamkos and Hedman, and they're both, like I said, they're not spring chickens by any means of the imagination. So Victor's already locked up for a while. I think Hedman will sign, Stamkos will sign. I don't know, 2 or 3 year contract, $12 million a year. The Lightning are okay in cap room because we were able to dump Alex Killorn's contract. Obviously, he's with the Anaheim Ducks, so he's out there. So we did lose some key players last year. I just think this year, like a lot of times, is you got a lot of young guys, and it just depends on how fast they mature and catch up. And Adam can say that with Detroit. You got a lot of young kids who have to be molded, and the veteran guys got to help them. I mean, in some cases, veterans don't want to help the young kids because they know that guy could take my spot. So there are times that some veterans players won't help them because they're more concerned.
It's not my
oh,
job.
Shit, that you're gonna get my job. So why the hell am I gonna help him? I think a lot of times that's what Aaron Rodgers' is problem is. He doesn't want to bring up a quarterback. He didn't want to help Jordan Love when he was in Green Bay because he's gonna take his job. So why am I gonna help him? Where Tom Brady so there are people that do it and there are people that don't. So
well, I think a lot of times with mentoring, I think you have to have the right personality to be a mentor.
right.
You can be an on the ice, in locker room leader, but if you don't have the right temperament to teach, you can want to help all you want, but if you don't have the right temperament to be a facilitator of knowledge, a mentor, a teacher, it's really you can't if that's not something you're capable of doing. You can want in one hand and shit in the other, and guess which one's going to fill up faster. And I think we look at we look at veteran players, and we criticize them for not helping the young guys, not helping them help bring them up. But it's not everybody's that. So many guys, you're so busy with everything that you have to do, everything that you've got to be. You fall into a routine. You get in your 10th or 12th year, and now you're a veteran guy, and you're so busy with all the commitments that you have off the ice, on the ice. There's a lot of these guys in their early 30s. They got 2 kids that are young, 2 or 3 kids. They got a wife. They got contract obligations that they have to fulfill. And it's hard to spend another hour at the rink. It's hard to budget even 15 minutes just to hang out with a young guy. And just as much as that, you have to be. I think about Danny Cannell a lot when it comes to mentoring and teaching. And, he came out in 98 or 2000, and he was drafted by the Giants like the 4th round. And the Giants pulled out all the stops for him. They built a brand new facility for him, put a video room in his house, paid him big money, and to be the heir apparent, take over for Kerry Collins when Kerry moved on, and he just didn't care. He didn't want to. Did we lose Brad? Okay, it's just a glitch in the system. It's a glitch in the matrix there.
No, buddy, I'm sorry. I got something in my teeth and I'm trying to get it out. I'm not on the air, so I'm trying to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, okay. You just ducked your head. I didn't know if we had lost you or what. But Danny Cannell, and he talked about this on his show a couple of years ago, probably close to going on like 8-10 years ago now, and he talked about how he just didn't care. He had the money, and he was a backup, and 2 or 3 years later, like 2004, they ended up cutting him, and he was fine with it. He went and got into sports radio, and he made a career for doing that, and he just didn't care. And you can talk about helping the young player. You can talk about Detroit and the veterans helping the young guys. Well, so many of the veterans that we had, the Datsuks and the Zetterbergs and Lidstrom, Cromwell, they were gone when we got all these young kids. And so the veterans were guys like Dylan Larkin, who had only been there. He's a veteran because he's the oldest guy on the team. He's 24 years old, been in the league for 3 years.
Oops.
And it's hard. It's hard when you don't have when you're the aging veterans all age out at the same time, and you don't have 3 years with the Datsuk or a Zetterberg or a Lidstrom, those type of guys that can sit you down and show you the ropes, and just as much as it is important for the old guys to mentor the young guys have to be willing to learn. We talk about veterans, mentoring young players, but how many times have we seen veterans not caring about the young players not wanting to learn from the veterans? And if you'll excuse me, I have to go sit in front of this thing to cool my phone off.
I agree with that. I mean,
Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of of a player for the Lightning that was like that didn't want to learn from the veteran guys and ended up getting cut because he just didn't want to. He didn't. Oh, I'm going to do it on my own. So I mean, you're 100% correct. Even as a rookie, if you want to learn, you have to be willing to learn. And I mean, it's up to you, as a man or a woman or whatever, to learn from, learn from them. If you don't, you don't. That's your choice. And either A, it'll work out for you, or B, you look like an ass by, not believing in the legends of the game who have played in front of you.
And again, and I'm not picking on anyone in particular, and I'm not saying that makes them a bad person. Either way you cut it, you can
Right.
Either way, whether you're a veteran guy trying to teach a young player or a young player trying to learn the game, not everybody is going to be able to pick up your game. You can tell me how to do it. You can show me 100 times. But if I'm not talented enough, if I don't have that skill, if I can't do it, I can't do it.
Right.
And I can beat my head against the wall 100 times, but I ain't going to break through the brick wall. So, just as much as it is important for young guys to be mentored by veterans, it's important for veterans to know whether they can or they can't. We spend a lot of time talking about learning, but sometimes you got to make your own mistakes.
Correct.
You can teach a guy, you can show a guy the ropes, but if he can't do what you do, if he can't do it the way you do it, it doesn't matter.
Well, I'll be honest with you, but look at Wayne Gretzky. I mean, some say the greatest player ever to put on a pair of skates, but he couldn't coach. I mean, that's the type of thing it is.
Same thing with Jordan.
Same thing, Lou. Yeah, I mean, there are superstars that end up becoming coaches, but they expect the guys that they're coaching to play like them or be like them. And it doesn't.
They have the same.
And we expected them to, coach well as they played.
Well, I mean,
and having the same.
Well, I was gonna say that's why I think that you won't see Brady or Manning become a coach. Peyton Manning would be a pain in the butt to be a head coach. I'm just saying.
Peyton Manning would be an awful coach.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. That would make no sense.
He expects perfection on every play.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you're a player, and you're in the trenches with the guys, you can scream and you can yell and you can be a jerk. You can be mean. You can cut your line. You can cut your wide receivers. You can cut your running backs. You can cut everybody up one wall and down to the other side, and that works because you're in the trenches with them. You're in the you're in the heat of battle. But when the great coaches, the great leaders, they don't play. Very rarely do you have a great coach that was a great player, because it takes 20 years to learn how to be a coach.
Right.
It takes 20 years of being in the meetings and in the team and doing all of the team stuff that you can't. It's one thing to sit in a meeting as a player, and then you go and do your job as a player, right? It's a wholly other thing to sit in the meeting room and then go and do all the things that you have to do as a coach, to deal with all of the personalities that you have to deal with when you're a quarterback. You don't have to deal with defensive football. Yeah, you might sit in with the defense every now and again, like, hey, this is what this is when I see this coverage, this is what I'm looking to do, and pointing things out for the defensive backs, try and help them figure things out. Yeah, you might sit in a defensive meeting every now and again. Like once a week, both the offense and defense will come in and share notes, right?
Yeah.
But when you're the head coach or you're the coordinator, you have to sit down with each personnel with your coordinators, and so many players want to micromanage every aspect of their game. The great players do. The great players do. The Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, the Joe Montanas, they know the ins and outs of every position group related to the position they play. But it's so hard to translate that from player speak to coaches speak to make it make sense in a way that everyone can grasp. And I think that's the biggest bugaboo for the Jordans and the Gretzkys when they come in and
Right.
they get they know what you're supposed to do. So I wrote it down. Just go do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see if it's clear enough.
But yeah, I mean you're that's the whole thing too. I think, and it's not just so much hockey too. It can be baseball, it could be basketball, football in general. If, as a veteran, you could say, okay, do I want to, help this kid who might take my job, if he or she will listen. That's the thing too. Like sometimes people are brought up where, hey, I did it all by myself, and F you, I'm not going to listen to you. I got here on my own, and then they learn the hard way. It doesn't always work out well for you.
And you got to think. You don't remember when you were 20 years old. You were 21 years old. You don't want to listen to your some guy that was, oh yeah, you've been doing it for 10 years. That's nice. Well, I've been doing this just as long as I. That's great, but I don't see things like you see them. I can't think like you think. And I'm just beating my head against the wall. I have to learn on my own. I have to learn how to do this my way. Yeah, I think that's the hard thing for a lot of the veterans and young players that butt heads. Because we've seen veterans and young players butt heads and not be able to get on the same page.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. And I think it happens. I think it happens more, Bud, really more often than we think. I think it happens more often than we think. We just don't hear about it because the teams keep it so hush hush. Sometimes it gets out in the media, but most of the time it's kept in house and they figure it out on their own. Speaking of veterans, I mean, I was not to jump to wrestling, but Sting announced he's going to retire. This is the retirement. He did retire and come back. He did announce that he is retiring. The April pay-per-view for AEW will be his final one. That's where he did his first appearance in AEW was at that pay-per-view. And Ric Flair was on AEW the other night. How interesting was that
cool.
to see? I saw it today, Gerald. I saw the clip today, and dude, I had goosebumps and tears in my eyes to see Sting and Ric Flair in the same ring together because that was WCW. I mean, that was WCW.
Those two made wrestling on TBS.
Yeah, that you're exactly 100% correct. Absolutely, they did. Yeah, yep. And
they made WCW what it became.
Absolutely.
That was wrestling at its finest.
And like I said, it was so cool to, he came out. Tony Schiavone, I remember Tony Schiavone when he was in WCW. It's cool that they have him in AEW, and it's cool they have JR too. It's like the two greatest commentators for wrestling are together because JR was
and I love some of Ric Flair's catchphrases. Woo! Jet flying, limo riding.
Yeah.
Solid in profiling, baby.
Yeah, that's
But and Sting, Sting is an icon.
he was always my favorite. He was my favorite WCW wrestler. I like the Crow look that he did with the black and white. I mean, that's what made him who he was. I mean, I know before he went black and white, he was colored. He had, bright yellow, bright pink face paint. And then he went dark after basically the WCW kind of threw their back against, kind of kicked him out. And then Hogan and them developed the NWO, and the rest of that is history. But that's how it was. And then Sting came back at Halloween Havoc, and in the black and white.
I don't like what Christian came out and said. That this was great for a little punk.
I think Sting and Darby Allin's tag team partner is going to be Edge or Adam Copeland. I think they'll go get Adam Copeland. I really do. I think that'll be their tag team partner. I don't watch AEW, so I don't know. I watch a lot of YouTube stuff at work. So
I would say either Adam Copeland or who's another one that could tag with them.
Well, Darby Allin's hurt too, so
it could be Hook.
Okay. It would make more sense for Adam Copeland because of the Christian thing.
Yeah, they'll
Christian basically told him to F off too.
Yeah.
Copeland start in WCW.
Okay. I mean,
when Edge went over to WWE, he got hooked up with Randy Orton, and they started rated R. What was it? Rated RKO.
Yep. Well, Randy's due back, Gerald, right? I keep reading things on him. He's due back soon, or is he not coming?
The doctors are not still not sure yet.
Oh,
I mean, honestly, Randy, it's hard because Randy, his time with the Legend Killer, and he was with
Evolution.
What faction? Evolution. Yeah, I was gonna say. It's just interesting, and how he was with Matt Riddle, who I think is, correct me if I'm wrong, out of WWE again because of his drug issues. Okay.
Drug alcohol.
Yeah. I don't watch WWE and AEW, but I have every sports app on my phone, guys, so I get every freaking sports update, even if it has to do with wrestling or UFC or whatever. So
of WWE, Crown Jewel is coming up.
Well, what pay-per-view just passed? What was the pay-per-view that just went by? I think that was before I went on vacation. A couple weeks ago.
Was it Fastlane?
That was Fastlane.
Fastlane.
That's what I thought.
This one, Crown Jewel, we're going to have. So far, the matches are LA Knight versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed title.
LA Knight should win that. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but
Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for the heavyweight title.
Oh, okay.
Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title.
I heard that one.
And then we got the women's fatal 5-way. That's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler versus Nia Jax versus Raquel Rodriguez and one more, Zoe Starks.
Wow. Well, Gerald, I've been hearing rumors that the WWE wants Rhea Ripley gone. I don't know if she's pissed off somebody, but I've been reading, and that could be rumors too. How do I know? Again, what you read on the internet's not always true either.
From what I heard,
Really?
her and upper management, it goes from Triple H on up. They're not happy with how she's performing in the Judgment Day.
Well, what else do they expect her to do? I mean, she's the
They
only
want
female in
her.
the group.
They want her to be more of a laid laid back and let Damian Priest take the head role with the Judgment Day.
But I mean, she's never really been that type of person, though. She's always been the upfront, person. She's never been a laid back type of wrestler.
Again, they want Damian Priest to become the leader of the Judgment Day.
Oh, I would agree. So he's the King of the Ring, or not King of the Ring. The
Senor Money in the Bank.
That's right, Money in the Bank. He hasn't cashed his title in yet either, so I'm interested to see which way he goes. But yeah,
and then we got JD McDonough out here trying to get connected
with
Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Damian Priest keeps saying no, 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 no. Rhea keeps pushing the issue.
Okay.
So I'm looking for them to write into the storyline where there's going to be tension between Rhea Ripley and the rest of the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
When they lost, right, to Cody and Jay, right?
Yes.
They lost their tag team championships at Fastlane. Yeah.
Thanks to Jimmy Uso coming out and super kicking Jay.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting moving forward.
And on his past Monday Night Raw, JD McDonough and Damian Priest injured Cody's ankle.
Mm.
And Cody has a rematch for the Undisputed titles at Crown Jewel.
Okay.
But nobody knows what kind of condition Cody's going to be in come Crown Jewel with that ankle.
Well,
What they did is here's his ankle. They put a steel chair between his ankle and the ring steps, and took another chair and just smashed his ankle.
Ugh.
Ouch.
I think
him coming out towards the end of the show. He had like an air cast on it. He was limping to the ring to help Jay. So
a walking boot.
yeah. So
Oh.
don't know how bad that ankle is, but we've seen Cody, have some pretty serious injuries and still come back to win a match.
Yeah.
Now look at Brock Lesnar. He had his arm broke then when he went up against Brock Lesnar, and he beat Lesnar.
Oh, I think Rhea Ripley would be an excellent solo performer. I'm not a big fan of factions. I think factions drag storylines down.
They do.
I think it's very rare. I think that they've been chasing the NWO for 25 years. It's very rare that a faction has that, especially when the factions start getting over 3 members. Because once you have more than 3 members, then you're limiting your solo pool, and you have to create counter factions to face a faction. So with Judgment Day being 5 people, then with 3 people you can form another faction to face them. Like, I think that's one of the things that made the Shield so good 4, 5, 6 years ago now, was the fact that the Shield was 3 members, which keeps them from
Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins.
Whereas the Nexus was just too big. The Nexus was too many guys that had, and when the Nexus fell apart, they just weren't developed as solo performers, and so when the Nexus fell apart, they all kind of went away. And Wade Barrett was the only one that managed to make it, and now he's not even an in-ring performer anymore. He's on commentary. And I see Judgment Day falling apart by the beginning of next year. And I don't know if
I'm going to say that's going to happen after New Year's Revolution Judgment Day is going to break apart. After the first pay-per-view of the year, Judgment Day is going to break up.
I feel like that's where it's heading, because Dominic Mysterio is doing his own thing. Dominic Priest is doing his own thing. Sounds like Rhea Ripley wants to do her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, at that point, you've got 3 out of the 5 members trying to do their own thing. It's like a band. When the performers want to have a solo project, you can't have 3 guys trying to do a solo project and still have a band.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Look
what
and
the same thing happened to Evolution.
When they all wanted to go do their own thing.
The Generation X, same thing.
Yeah.
When Generation X blew up to 15 people. NWO, Wolfpack, they all fell apart when everybody was when one side was Wolfpack and the other side was NWO. You can't have matches. I mean, too many factions, too many cliques. You can't develop, and this is something that I've been complaining about for probably 15 years now, is that they don't have an undercard. How you can't have a 3-hour show with 3 matches. With 1 match an hour. And they just haven't been able to recapture. They caught lightning in a bottle with the Attitude Era, and they've been chasing that high ever since.
Yes.
Brothers of Destruction, Kane and Undertaker.
I think 2 can work. I think 2 can work because you can do a lot with 2. You can still do solo matches. You can do tag matches. You can mix and match. You can throw a 3rd guy in there every now and again when they come up against a faction. You can have the Brotherhood of Destruction or the Brothers of Destruction, and then you can throw a Randy Orton, a John Cena, on the end, a Batista. You can throw a Batista in there to counter a 3-man. But when you have a faction that's over 3 members, then you're limiting what you can do, because then you have to have a 5-man faction, or you're sitting, or 2 guys are sitting, or 2 or 3 guys are sitting waiting for their opportunities, so they're not on TV.
Yeah, nope, you're right.
Because you can't have 5 guys holding the tag team titles, because it's tag includes so when you have
builds up.
Builds up 3-0.
Yeah.
But when you have more than 2 guys in a faction, when you have more than 3, with 3 guys in a faction, like NWO, you can have Nash and Hall doing a thing, having a tag team match. Well, Hogan has a singles match, right? And then you can switch off. You can have Nash and Hogan having a thing, while Hall has a solo match. But when you get over 3 members, then you have 2 guys sitting doing nothing.
Right. Well, with that, gentlemen, would you like to roll into college football?
Yeah.
Get to that part of the show. Get to that part of the show.
That's something I want to discuss in college football.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard this or not, but the Texas starting quarterback Quinn is out 3 to 4 weeks with a shoulder injury.
Yes.
And the backup to him is a redshirt freshman quarterback.
Well, you never know what can happen with that.
And Archie Manning is going to be the backup to the backup.
Smart move.
So
Yeah.
I think you want to throw the Wolves, right now. Give him a year to mature a little bit and start him next year. I'm assuming if Quentin Evers is gone, Archie will be the starting quarterback next year in Texas. I mean, Joe, I didn't watch the Houston game, so I don't know what happened. I saw your quote in the chat. I don't know what happened. So
the Houston
Yeah.
defender lowered his helmet and hit Quinn in the shoulder.
was it a clean hit or was it a dirty hit?
To me, it was a dirty hit because he led with his helmet.
I mean, he didn't hit him in the head. He led with his helmet, hit him in the shoulder or in the chest.
Yeah.
I don't.
Was it the throwing shoulder or the non-throwing shoulder?
It's a throwing shoulder.
Yeah, then that may have been a dirty shot. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's one of those things where you.
And college up pro, they consider that targeting.
Did he get penalized for it?
No.
I'm surprised because any college, all the USF games I've been to and even non-USF games, every time that there's a shot to anywhere near the chest or head, they always will go, oh, the following play could be targeting. Then they'll go and look at it and make sure that it isn't or it is.
They didn't even review it.
Interesting. Yeah, that is interesting because a lot of times, you'll have it where if, like I said, any kind of shot to the chest or the head with a helmet is always reviewed. But I'm guessing, Gerald, because he didn't get hit in the head, he didn't, a head-to-head shot with the helmet, that's why there was no targeting called. I don't know. Again, I didn't watch the game, so I can't.
I've only seen one.
But Quinn was going down when the hit happened.
Okay.
I only saw one grainy replay. I didn't notice him lower his head. I thought he just hit him. I just thought it was a big hit, and But I had to go back and take another look at it. And I think that it's next man up mentality that we gotta have it.
It wasn't actually his whole helmet. It was, if you're going back and look at it, it looks like it was just a face mask.
Then that's not targeting.
Okay.
That's what it looked like to me. But from
if he didn't drop his helmet and if he didn't lead with the crown of his helmet or the top, then it's not targeting.
That's why.
No, if he was.
And from what the main angle I've seen, he did lower his helmet. Then they showed another one where it was just a face mask. So I don't know.
If he was giving himself up. See, the way I saw it, I only saw one grainy replay, was he was contacted at the moment he went to go into his slide. And so, to me, and I didn't see him lower his head, to me, I thought it was a clean hit. I thought it was a clean, hard hit. I just think it's one of those unfortunate things that happens in the game of football, and, it's tough when you got your best player out there throwing himself around. I think discretion is the better part of valor. You get down, get out of the line of fire. And I think the other thing is that, you don't want to rush him back. We know he's hurt, regardless of whether it's clean or dirty or not. To make
grade 2 shoulder joint strain.
And that's going to, especially a pinched nerve or anything, that's going to make closing your hand is really excruciating.
And they expected him to be out 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, I could see him wanting to come back after 2 weeks. That's one of those things. That's one of those games. That's one of those injuries where it can feel good all day long, like your shoulder won't hurt, but then you go to put tension on those muscles, and it just burns, just absolutely excruciating. So
passing is just like, then you lose your grip on the ball, and it just. Because I know I had. I know I wrecked.
Did they
my
beat
body.
Houston? Did they beat Houston?
Yes, I wrecked my
Okay,
body.
so it was a win. Okay.
When I was younger, and it messed up the nerve right here by my elbow. Every now and then, I could be holding something in my hand, and from the elbow up, this goes numb, and I drop what I'm holding. It messed up my grip in my right hand.
And so getting him back is going to be, if they can maintain. They still got a good defense.
Well, I'll say let them sit out the full 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do would be to have him sit out for the full 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then just who do y'all got left?
We play Baylor. Not Baylor, but BYU this coming weekend.
Right, I think that's a win, regardless of who plays.
Let me look it up, and I can tell you.
Yeah, do that.
They only have one loss so far against Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
They had 2.
Correct.
Just one.
Okay. No, they got the one loss to Oklahoma.
If we can win out, we can make the Big 12 title and possibly the playoffs.
Now, who's left on your schedule?
I'm looking that up right now.
Okay.
Schedule. We got Baylor, Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State, and Tech.
Okay.
So
I don't.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 games left.
Yeah, I don't see any of those games needing viewers to come back for. I would hold them out the full 4 weeks.
I would say probably the Iowa State or Texas Tech game.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Tech game. Have him come back for the Tech game.
He can either be back by the TCU game, Iowa State, or Tech.
Yeah, I think you hold him out. Until Tech. Get him back for Tech, have him get back into the swing of things, and then go after the Big 12 title game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as of right now, it's Texas. It's Oklahoma at 4-0 in the conference. Then Texas, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Kansas is the top teams.
Probably be a rematch against Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Oklahoma is 7-0. Tech, we are 6-1.
Yeah, the only loss being to Oklahoma.
Yes.
Oklahoma, yeah.
So, like I said, if we can win out, if we can win these next 5 games, we have a chance to play for the Big 12 title and possibly get into the playoffs.
Yes.
Yep. You need a little bit of help, but not a ton.
And
right.
It depends on how the rest of our season goes.
And how the rest of everyone else's season goes.
That's right.
They got us ranked at number 7 in the AP poll.
Right. Depends on where the computer has you in the playoffs, though.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying we need to win out in order to get into the playoffs.
You need to win out.
After getting into it.
And you need, because Georgia's undefeated, Michigan's undefeated, Ohio State's undefeated, Washington's undefeated, Oklahoma. Florida State's undefeated.
Well, I'm not saying that a one loss will keep you out. It just makes it look better. When they go to look at, okay, who are we going to put an unranked team against in the playoffs?
Right.
Yeah, Michigan or Michigan or Ohio State's gonna have a loss.
The Bills have scored a touchdown.
I gotta deal with this.
Well, I was going to say, let me ask you guys this question right now.
Yeah.
If Texas plays Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship, Texas wins, they both have one loss.
Right.
Who goes to the playoff?
Yeah, it depends on who's in front of them.
That's exactly right.
That and also it'd be a tie between Texas and Oklahoma. Because
What do you do?
Oklahoma.
That's what I mean, because they would have one loss to each team. They'd have one win and one loss over each other.
Yes.
That's my question is who, if the path is clear, because I think FSU is going to win out. So they're going to be in the college football playoff. Unless they trip up and lose in the ACC championship game.
But I would have to say, if that's a scenario. I hate to say this, but I think Oklahoma would get in before Texas because Oklahoma had the regular season win.
Yes.
Over us.
No, I think late losses are more detrimental than early losses. I think if you have the win.
Go ahead, Adam.
If you have the win over Oklahoma in the championship game, I think that outweighs the regular season loss. I think if you're both 11-1 after the conference championship game, I think Texas, all things being equal and saying they have a path to the playoff, I would put Texas in over Oklahoma.
We could have won that Red River rivalry if it wasn't for that last second penalty in the end zone where he got called for pass interference. If it wasn't for that penalty, we would have won that game.
And if we hadn't lost, we would have won.
Right.
I know Coach Stark was mad about that one because you could see him on the sideline and smoke was you could see the smoke just coming.
Because I think Georgia goes undefeated. I think Michigan goes undefeated. I think Florida State goes undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't know if Washington will go undefeated. If Washington goes undefeated, then everybody's out. Everybody's on the outside looking in. Because it'll be Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington.
Yep.
Now, if Washington drops a game somewhere in there, then you've got then the field moves up.
Now, isn't this the year they go to a 12-team playoff system?
Next year.
Yep.
So if and I think Georgia's an interesting one because if they lose to Alabama in the championship game, they'll be a one-loss team. Alabama will be a one-loss team if Alabama doesn't drop one. And if Michigan slides up to 1, and Florida State throwing hands, hockey.
Oh yeah, so helmet. One of the Buccaneer players took his helmet off.
And which one is it? What number?
Number 5 for Tampa Bay.
He's still there. Yuck.
I know the Lightning.
I didn't know the
holder.
I didn't know the Bills.
Jake Camarda. That's Jake Camarda.
Yeah.
I didn't know I thought you were playing the Sharks, not the Sabres.
And hit one of the Buffalo players in the helmet with his own helmet.
Oh shit, that'll be a fine. That's a fine.
That'll be a suspension.
That's suspension, most likely.
And probably ejected out of the game.
Yeah, him done.
Lightning are up by a touchdown right now over San Jose. So.
Yeah, see, I thought you were all playing the Sharks, not playing the Sabres. Went to a football game and a hockey game broke out.
This is football,
Um,
not WWE.
no, because I think no, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where we're at in early December because if Georgia drops the championship game to Alabama, and Alabama stays um and Alabama's only losses to Texas, and Texas' only losses to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's only losses to Texas. you know, because I think
Hey,
Michigan,
Georgia's got to get by Florida this week. So hang on a second.
yeah, Georgia gets by Florida this week.
Big cocktail party in Jacksonville this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Georgia gets by Florida.
No, Florida's not going to win the football game. No.
Yeah, I don't. But I think Georgia runs the table through the regular season. And then if Alabama runs the table, they'll meet in the SEC. They'll meet in Atlanta for the SEC title.
Correct.
And if Alabama wins, they'll be sitting pretty at 11-1.
Yep.
Michigan's 12-0. Florida State's 12-0. Georgia's 11-1. And if Washington drops the championship game to a 2-loss USC, I think, and then Texas wins. I would 100% not be shocked if Alabama gets in. If Alabama ends up fourth, I would not be shocked if Alabama. Because I think Alabama.
We had them dead to rights, right? And now they're not dead to rights anymore.
Yeah, but Alabama.
No, I've been saying.
Alabama's been struggling with teams they should easily beat by 40 points or more.
Yeah. I don't ask you how, just how many. And at the end of the day,
Yep.
at the end of the day, if they go out and they beat Georgia, if they beat the number one team in the country on a neutral site, and after the regular season, it's gonna be interesting to see how the computer scores it, how the committee feels about it. Because I think if they do beat Georgia, you have Alabama, you have Michigan at 1, Florida State at 2, and Georgia slips to 3. And then, if Washington's undefeated, if Washington runs the table and wins the Pac-12, then I think Washington's 4, and the rest is crying.
Right.
And then it's all wait until next year. And I think the same thing is true if Ohio State wins. If Ohio State beats Michigan at the end of the year, I think Ohio State goes to 1, Florida State goes to 2. Georgia 3, Washington 4, and then it's everything but the crying.
Right.
All that's left is the handshake and drowning yourself in the shower.
You guys want to go through the games this upcoming week for the top 25?
Sure.
Of course.
Okay, the first one, guys, at noon on ABC. ACC as the number 4 Noles are on the road in Salem, North Carolina, to play the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. LSU is a 20.5-point favorite. The over-under is 52.
I'm still on the Deacons.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Deacons too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can we look at who Florida State's got next week?
I can, but hang on just
Florida
a second.
State.
Because
Florida State.
I think
right?
it's Miami. Don't quote me on that, but it might be Miami.
this has the hallmarks. Florida State. This has the hallmarks of a trap game.
Well, and Wake has been kind of like the Iowa. You know what, man? They're just like the fly that won't go away. You slap them away, and then they come back. I know, Wake Forest is 4-3 this year. Not the typical, but again, they've got 4 wins. They have Pitt next week. I'm sorry, they play Pitt on the road, and then they're home against Miami, home against North Alabama, and then they're on the road against the Gators at the end of the season. So, yeah.
Okay.
So they have.
It's still an interesting.
Yeah.
Pitt next week may be more of a trap game going into Miami weekend.
I would agree with that.
But I'm still
But yeah.
I'm still on Wake Forest. I have a funny feeling that they either gonna blow them out. It'll be 45-3 halfway through the third quarter, or Wake will be right there. If Wake can keep within 10 going into the fourth quarter, feeling good about themselves.
I'll take the Noles, but I'll take the Wake.
Touchdown,
I'll take the Noles to win overall.
I'll take
Wake to cover,
yeah.
and I'll take the. I don't think it's. I'll take the. I don't know. There'll probably be 52 points score. I'm assuming both those teams can
Brad,
put up
Chris
27
Goodwin,
points.
Chris
I
Godwin's
think
got
Wake will
solid
put up 27
touchdown.
points. The next game, guys, is Oklahoma at Kansas. The Sooners are a 9-point favorite. The over-under is 65 and a hook. It's going to be 38 degrees at kickoff. Oof. Cold
I'm
weather.
going to take
That's brutal.
Kansas in the upset.
And remember, it's also Aldrich Blanket night. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's spring. She's blanket night.
30 degrees, you might need it.
Because I cannot stand Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I know. I'm on Kansas. I like Rockstar Jayhawk. I'm putting Oklahoma on upset alert this week.
What happened to Brad? He just went.
He fell down.
All right, guys. I'm right here.
He went.
I finally got that thing out of my teeth.
There you go.
But yeah.
I had the same problem. That's why I walked off.
The funny thing is, we all know that anybody can win on any given Saturday. And again, Kansas could be
100%.
could be help Texas. You know, they knock Oklahoma out. Now it's even. Now they both have one loss, and the Oklahoma doesn't go into the Big 12 championship undefeated. They have one
If
loss.
that happened,
You
that would put Texas and Oklahoma tied for number one in the Big 12.
Correct. That is correct. Next game, guys. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing.
Yeah.
The next game, is on CBS. It's a Big Ten game. The Hoosiers are on the road in Happy Valley to play the one-loss Penn State Nittany Lions last week against Ohio State. Penn State's a 32-point favorite. The over-under is 46.
Rebound, Penn State. Rebound.
Penn State.
Yeah, I'm taking the Lions.
32?
Yeah, that's the line. Yep.
Wow. That's a ton.
Yeah.
Penn State, Indiana to cover, and you say 47?
46, but yeah.
46 flat. Penn State, Indiana covers, and the under.
And now we've arrived at the biggest cocktail party between Georgia and Florida in Jacksonville. Kickoff is 79 degrees. The Bulldogs are a 14.5-point favorite. The over-under is 49.
Georgia.
Florida just got done beating South Carolina in the latter stages of the game last week, and Georgia hammered Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken, last week. So,
Brad, I know you're a Florida Gator fan.
they're not going to beat Georgia. I know that. I know that.
They're not beating Georgia. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you right now. I'll wear my Georgia hat next week. I have a Georgia Bulldog hat. I'll wear it next week if they pound the Gators, which I think is going to happen. I will wear my Georgia Bulldog hat next week. I have one. My uncle hated me for it. My late uncle was the biggest Gator fan. He's like, "How do you wear that hat?" Hey, I don't hate Georgia. I hate Tennessee. So that's a team in the SEC I can't stand.
And Florida State.
You see me wearing a Tennessee hat, you know there's something majorly wrong with me.
Yeah, Tennessee is like Oklahoma to us. That's our biggest rival.
The state of Tennessee is great. It's just the University of Tennessee that I don't like. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not dissing on the state of Tennessee.
We'll get you a Commodores. We'll get you a Commodores hat. Yeah.
I passed that stadium when I was in Nashville, so it was nice to see Vanderbilt's campus. So I passed by it. Thanks to Ralph, I passed by Vanderbilt's stadium there. The next one, guys, is 3:30.
It is Bucks 10, Bills 10, 6:46 left in the first half.
So it's
Yeah.
closer than a lot
All right,
of thought it was going to.
I thought it was going to be close.
The next game, Gerald, is Texas. BYU against Texas. The line is 19 for the Longhorns. The over-under is 50, even.
Yeah, I already know where I'm going. Look at the screen.
I'll go upset.
I'm taking my horns.
Yeah.
Who's taking BYU? Okay.
No, I'm taking my Longhorns. Who
All
said
right.
that?
Texas. Texas, BYU covers and the under.
Lou said he's taking BYU. He said an upset. He's taking BYU.
Okay.
I'll take the Longhorns as well.
We all got a freshman QB. I think we're going to come out with a win.
The next game is two top 25 teams, both in the Pac-12. Oregon is on the road in Salt Lake City to play Utah. The Ducks are a 6-point favorite. The over-under is 47 and a hook.
I'm going to take Utah.
Go ahead. I'm going to take Oregon. I think that's going to be Utah can't win without Cam Rising.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him. So I'm going Oregon.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ducks.
I'm taking a Duck.
I'll take the Ducks. Oregon keeps it. Jesus. Utah keeps it close.
Yeah. Bo Nix is, since he left Auburn, has played very well for Oregon. The next game, guys, is Pitt at number 14, Notre Dame. Oh, by the way, guys, I got asked by Bobby what a hook was, so I had to explain that to him what the hook was. So,
I don't even know what a hook is.
The
It's a half point.
Is a half a point.
It's a half point?
Yeah. Hooks are half points. Yeah, that's what those are.
How do you
Somebody said 40,
how do you get half
45 and a hook.
Yeah.
Yep, 45 and a hook, so it's 45 and a half points. Yeah, I don't know how they determine half points, but that's the gamblers.
Right. I never figured that out.
Yeah, that's to make you bet. Oh, if it's 25 and a half, they have to win by 26 for you to cover. If they only win by 25, you lose because of that half point. So yeah,
Well, I'm taking Notre Dame in that one.
Irish.
Yeah, they're the like I said. Yeah, I'll take the Irish because Pitt's not what they were this year. The next game, guys, is ACC as the Duke Blue Devils go on the road to play the Cardinals, who just lost for the first time. I think we're undefeated. Louisville's a 4.5-point favorite. The over/under is 46 and a hook.
If it was basketball, I'd take Duke, but I think I'd take Louisville here.
Louisville, okay.
Yeah, I like Louisville too.
I'm going to take Louisville.
I'm going to go the opposite, guys. I'm going to say Duke got mad last week after losing to FSU. I think they bounce back and get a big win on the road.
Already.
They've had some struggles this year. I like Louisville. I think Duke can cover, but
the next game, guys, is in the AAC as number 22 Tulane, the Green Wave, are on the road to play the Rice Owls. Tulane is a 10.5-point favorite. The over/under is 53 and a hook.
Tulane.
the Green Wave.
The Green Wave, they're 3-0 in the conference. 6-1 overall is Tulane. The next one is a Pac-12. These two schools, other than UCLA, but USC Cal, the Trojans are a 10.5-point favorite. The over/under is 66 and a hook.
USC.
SC.
Trojans too. Yep.
They playing Cal.
Yeah.
Cal in Berkeley. Yep, in Berkeley.
I'm going USC, even though I don't like Caleb Williams.
Okay. The next game, guys, is the number 5 Washington Huskies on the road against Stanford, who pulled off a huge comeback win last week against Colorado. Washington is a 27.5-point favorite. The over-under is 60 and a hook.
Washington.
Washington get to 60 by themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buffalo to score a touchdown. Thank you,
17-10.
Kincaid. All right, you
Yeah,
got
a
me
little
some
bit
fantasy
behind.
points.
The next one, guys, is number 19 Air Force, who now has the lead in the Commanders Cup. They are playing Colorado State. They're a 14-point favorite. The over-under is 46 and a hook.
Colorado, Air Force, the points and the under.
Okay.
I'm going to follow Adam on that one.
Okay. The next one is an SEC matchup between number 21 Tennessee on the road in Lexington to play Kentucky. The Volunteers are a 3.5-point favorite. The over-under is 51.
Again, if it was basketball, I'd take Kentucky, but here I'm taking Tennessee.
I'm going Tennessee too.
Kentucky.
I'm taking the Wildcats too. They got a good running game. I don't know if Tennessee can stop them in the rushing game. So I'm taking Kentucky.
Tennessee's had their struggles.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Florida, lost to Alabama. They've dropped some games that they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is their third loss, 3 out of 4.
The next one, guys, is at 7:30 kickoff. Big Ten matchup between number 3 Ohio State on the road in Madison to play the Badgers. Ohio State is a 14.5-point favorite. The over-under is 45 and a hook.
I'm taking Ohio State, but I don't think this is going to be a blow everybody thinks it's going to be. I mean, Wisconsin is very tough at home. So, don't let, this fool you. It may seem like on paper, it's going to be the one-sided game. I don't think so. I think Ohio State's going to win, but I think Wisconsin's going to make it very interesting.
Okay.
Ohio State.
Bring the cheese.
I'm gonna agree with Lou. I think it'll be close, but I think it'll be a low scoring blowout, 27-7, 31-10.
Okay.
Ohio State's not as good as Ohio State's lost a step.
Yeah.
Yes, they have.
Yep. Well, they had that scary game a couple weeks ago against Maryland. So, yeah.
And they struggled against Penn State last week. They won. They had to go right from the wire with it. Penn State took them to the wire. Penn State's not a good team either. So.
Yeah. The next game, guys, is an SEC matchup between number 12 Ole Miss. They're at home against Vandy. The Rebels are a 24.5-point favorite. The over-under is 63. That's
You did say
Vanderbilt,
right?
Jesus.
Let's go Rebels.
You did say Vanderbilt, right?
Yep, I did say Vanderbilt.
Forget it. Oklahoma's going to destroy them. Vanderbilt has the
Even with baseball.
Vanderbilt
might be
has the worst, period. They are horrible. How they even play football, I don't even know. They're going to get killed. Forget it. That team
Well, they're
is a joke.
2-6 overall and 0-4 in the SEC this year.
What a surprise.
After they had a couple of nice wins last year at the end of the season. Beat Florida.
Last year. Yep.
Vanderbilt.
Yes, they did.
It was their one nice season in the century.
Yeah.
It's a Pac-12 matchup as Colorado is on the road in Pasadena to play the Bruins. UCLA is a 16.5-point favorite. The over-under is 61 and a hook.
I'm going with the Bruins.
The Bruins, okay.
I'm going Colorado.
Think the Buffalo.
UCLA, Colorado covers the over.
Okay, all right.
I just think.
Go ahead.
Prime, for as much hype as he got with their win over TCU, I think they exceeded expectations early in the season, and they've come back down to earth later as the seasons come along. And so, I
Yes.
I'm here.
I'm
Did we
here.
lose him?
I'm here.
I'm here. I think we lost Adam there for a second. He may have muted his mic by accident. I don't know. I lost him there.
Adam, there you are.
There we go. Okay. The next game, guys, is in the ACC. North Carolina is on the road to play Georgia Tech. The Tar Heels are 11.5-point favorite. The over/under is 63 and a hook.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech in an upset. Okay.
Yeah.
UNC.
Georgia Tech and who?
North Carolina.
I'm taking North Carolina.
North Carolina bounces back hard.
Yep. Here we go right here, guys. The Sun Belt. 8 o'clock. Number 25, James Madison at home against Old Dominion. Madison is a 20.5-point favorite. The over/under is 49. Sun Belt Conference in the top 25.
I'm going James Madison.
Me too.
Yeah. I'll take James Madison.
And I'll take Old Dominion in the upset.
Old Dominion in the upset. That will not because James Madison's undefeated. They're 7-0. 7-0. They're 4-0 in the conference. Okay. The last top 25 game, guys, is Oregon State on the road in Arizona. The Beavers are a 3-point favorite. The over/under is 56.5.
Oregon State.
Oregon State.
The Beavers.
Yeah.
Okay. Adam, is Michigan off this week? They got a bye?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I didn't see them, and I'm like, they are the number 2 team in the country. I'm sure that we would have seen the score. Okay. USF also has a bye week this week, so I'll be watching the Florida-Georgia game. Next week, I'll be at the Hard Rock Casino watching USF play Memphis. I have to drop my friends off at a concert, and across the street from the concert is the casino, so I'm going to go watch the game in the sports bar in the casino and be just a fan because Ralph is writing the articles next week because he's covering Memphis, so I don't have to. I am not tomorrow, but Saturday morning, I'm going to my first college lacrosse game. I'm really pumped. I've never been to a live lacrosse match before, so I'm going to go, and USF has an exhibition match against St. Leo. It's women's lacrosse, too, not men. So I'm looking forward to that on Saturday. So looking forward to that. And I did apply for credentials for USF basketball. Both men's, not full seasons, individual games. So I'm going to see if I can get to. I applied for three for each, women's and men's. I just picked out 3 games, so kind of hoping that I can get at least to 1 or 2 of those games. So to cover them as a media member, I've been in the arena that the Bulls play in many times for basketball. I've seen both teams play. The women's team is the better of the 2 teams, but the men's team has a new head coach, so we'll see how they do.
Another one.
Yeah, another one. Yep, another one. All right, so Buffalo's up 17-10 with 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Is that right?
Actually 47 seconds left.
Okay. I might go change the channel because I can watch the Bucks on Fox. I don't have to watch Amazon. Not that I have Amazon, but I can watch it locally. Hang on just a second, guys. Let me go change the channel. I think the game is over.
I'm streaming it on mine.
I got Amazon Prime free right now.
How do you get free?
Yeah, I think the Lightning won 6-0 over San Jose.
It's a free trial.
Yeah, but how do you do it?
You gotta have Amazon, regular Amazon to get Prime.
I get it.
And I got 16 more days in the free trial.
There you go.
I knew there'd be a catch.
No, there's no catch.
But you got to have Amazon first to get it.
Amazon Prime is just it's a step up from regular Amazon.
Right, but you need Amazon first to get
It helps with shipping too when you buy things.
Nation.
Right.
Yeah, you get free shipping.
Nation.
I'll just figure that out later. Okay.
All right. So the NFL goes as we are in week 8 of the NFL. So let's start with the 1:00 games. The first one on Fox, the LA Rams are on the road in Arlington to play the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is a 6-point favorite. The over-under is 45 and a hook.
Dallas.
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Cowboys all the way. Okay. All right. The next game, guys, is a NFC North matchup as the Vikings go on the road to play the Packers. The Vikings are a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under is 42.
Vikings.
I'm going with the Packers.
Vikings
are
okay. Packers, okay.
I guess
Vikings.
I think they're going to rebound.
The Vikings beat the 49ers last week. So,
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fluke.
That was a tough pick. I think I took Green Bay. That was a tough pick to pick.
Yeah, that was hard. I think I took Minnesota. I'm not sure.
I think you did, Brad.
Yeah, I think I took Green Bay. The next game, guys, is the Falcons on the road in Nashville to play the Titans. The Falcons are a 2.5-point favorite over under. Falcons, okay. 35 and a hook is the line. Okay. I took Atlanta as well. The next game, guys, is the Saints on the road in Indianapolis. The line is even. There's no line. That's a pick'em game. And the over 23 and a hook.
I'm taking the Colts.
Colts, okay.
Saints.
Anthony Richardson might be done for the year. So there you go.
Yeah,
he is done for the year.
Last year in Tampa Bay, you might be fired after this season.
Yep.
The next game is the 2-5 Patriots on the road to play Miami. The Dolphins are a 9.5-point favorite. The over/under is 47.
Dolphins
going to spank them.
Yeah, I think it was a fluke last week against the Bills. I think I'm gonna take the Fins too. Yeah. I hate to do that, but because that's the one team in the AFC that again I can't stand.
Dolphins, Bills. I'm taking the Bills then. Dolphins, Bills.
The next one, guys, is the Battle of New York. The Jets are at home against the Giants since they play in the same stadium. The Jets are a 3-point favorite. The over/under is 36 and a hook.
This is going to determine what New York team is going to go further in the year. The winner of this is going to take more serious contention of making the postseason. The loser, I think, is going to be out.
I'm going Jets.
Yes.
It's going to be a very important game.
I'll take the Jets. I think the Jets get back into contention with a win. Yeah. The next one, guys, is Jacksonville on the road against Pittsburgh. The Jaguars are a 2.5-point favorite. The over/under is 41.
Jags.
Jags.
Yep, I'll take the Jaguars as well. The next one is an AFC East matchup, and that would be the Philadelphia Eagles on the road in Landover to play the Commanders. Philly's a 7-point favorite. The over/under is 43 and a hook.
Yeah,
I got the Eagles, but I'm hoping Washington wins it.
As much as I can
the Eagles.
Your team, I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles. Ugh.
Okay. All right. The next game, guys, is the final 1:00 game. The Houston Texans are on the road in Carolina to play the Panthers. Houston's a 3-point favorite. The over/under is 43 and a hook.
Houston.
The the battle of the 1 and 2, right? You have Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud, right? Weren't they the first two
Correct.
backs to go in the
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to take Houston too. I think C.J. Stroud's off to he's got a better offensive line in front of him than Bryce Young does. Starting
Definitely.
the 4 o'clock game, guys, we have the 4 and 2 Cleveland Browns on the road to play the 4 and 2 Seattle Seahawks. The Hawks are a 4-point favorite. The over/under is 38.
Hawks.
Hawks. They're tough to beat at home.
Incredibly tough.
Tough to beat at home. The next game, guys, at 4:25 is the red hot Kansas City Chiefs on the road in Mile High to play the Broncos. The Chiefs are a 7-point favorite. The over/under is 47.
Chiefs all the way.
Chiefs.
Yep, I agree with that. Yep. Okay. 4:25, the Baltimore Ravens are on the road in Glendale, welcoming back Kyler Murray for the Cardinals. He did
Ravens.
play in practice. Ravens are a 9.5-point favorite. The over/under is 44 and a hook.
Ravens.
Purple by 90.
If Dobbs was playing, I'll go with the Cardinals. But since Dobbs is not playing, I'm going Ravens.
Okay. All right.
Dobbs is better than Kyler. I'm sorry, but he's better.
The conclusion to the 4:25 games has a battle of a past Super Bowl. The 3-3 Bengals are on the road to play the 5-2 49ers. San Francisco's a 4-point favorite. The over/under is 43 and a hook.
49ers.
Well, since the 49ers got beat by Minnesota last week, and Brock Purdy may not be playing in this game because of the concussion protocol, I'm going Bengals.
Okay.
Niners.
All right. I'll take the Niners as well.
I still like the Niners.
Sunday night game has 2 struggling teams. Chicago is on the road to play L.A. The Chargers are a 8.5-point favorite. The over/under is 46 and a hook.
Chargers.
Chargers.
Can't win with the Bears.
Okay. And the Monday night football game, and this is the first time that this team has hosted a Monday night football game in a very long time, is the Vegas Raiders on the road in Detroit to play the Lions. The Lions are an 8-point favorite. Over/under is 46.
I'm not lying.
I'm taking Lions too. I think they had a bad game against Baltimore. Kind of one of those wake-up games, like you're high. We got this. We're going to win all these games. And then, bam, you get knocked back down. And I think that was the game last week against Baltimore. They got knocked down. They bounced back. I'll take Detroit.
Agreed.
I'm taking the Lions also.
Yeah.
I know Dan Campbell is not the X's and O's guy. He's a motivating type coach. So is Deion Sanders. And if you can get your guys to buy into that system, and it seems to be working so far for the Lions, if they keep playing the way that they're playing right now, they're going to win the division. And it's been a long time since we've been able to say that, to them to win the division. So I hope they do win the division, actually. In all honesty, I hope they do win the division. It would be big for Detroit and the fans. Like Adam, who's been a long-time fan for a long time, that has had to suffer through so many bad seasons.
Right.
For you guys, let's let them win a division and break the long curse that they've had.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Dan Campbell.
Okay.
I'm not there yet because they lost to Seattle. They lost to Baltimore. They bet a struggling Kansas City team in week 1, who were 2 drops away from beating Detroit. And then they beat a bad Green Bay team. And I can't remember who the other 2 games were against offhand, but they hadn't played him. No, they beat a bad Bucks team. They beat a struggling Baltimore Tampa Bay. And a bad Chicago. I think Chicago was the other one. And they beat a bad Chicago team. or Green Bay. I think more than Green Bay.
And
Listen,
they're going to
Kansas
get a
City
struggling team this week too, Bud, with the Raiders. So, yeah.
and a bad Raiders team. I'm not exactly. I think this if they do get off, I think it's more smoke and mirrors.
Right.
And I don't, because their two losses were the two good teams that they played, Seattle and Seattle and Baltimore. They've lost, and it seems like they can beat bad teams, but they can't beat good teams. And when you don't play a bad team in the playoffs,
no, you do not.
and so I'm just not. I'm not buying. I'm not buying it.
No.
I've been down this path too many times. I've been 6-2 too many damn times. So once the team fall apart, end up 8-8, 7-9, 6-10. To start out 6-2 and finish up 10 and 6-10. You know, lose 8 in a row. You know, I watched the same song and dance for so many years that it's hard to get excited at 5-2 when your two losses are to the only two good teams you play.
Mm-hmm.
One was at home and they took you to overtime, and the other was on the road and you got blown out.
Yeah.
So I'm skeptical.
No, and you know what? You have all the right to be that way because, again, you know better than we do. You've been a fan of that team since you were a kid, and you've gone through the ups and downs of that team with Barry and Megatron, and now and you never know. You could be exactly right. They're 6-2 right now, and they could finish the season, 6-11. Who knows?
Wow.
I don't think they're losing this week. I don't know who they have left outside of their division games. They've already beat Green Bay. They've already beat Chicago. So they're already 2-0 within the conference or in their division. So
I think
they haven't played Minnesota yet. Have they not played the Vikings yet?
I can't remember. I know they played Kansas City was in week 1. And I forget, I think it was Green Bay week 2. Then it was Seattle in week 3. Chicago in week 4. And then did they have the bye in week 5? I don't remember now offhand.
The Bucks had a bye in week 5.
I know that Tampa Bay had the bye week. So maybe they haven't had their bye yet.
So here we are, but they beat the Chiefs by 1 point. They lost to Seattle by 6. They beat the Falcons. They beat the Packers. They beat the Panthers, and they beat the Bucks, and they lost to the Ravens.
Okay.
So they've got two division games so far. They're 2-0. They beat Green Bay, and they beat one division game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, one division game. Yeah.
Division game. Yeah.
Yeah, they beat.
Next week they are on the road in LA to play the Chargers. So that's who they have after the Raiders.
Well, and then so in the first 7 games, they beat a struggling Kansas City team, lost to a good Seattle team, beat a struggling Green Bay, beat a struggling Falcons team. At the time, that Falcons team has come on, but at the time they were looking like they were headed to purgatory, and then they beat a bad Carolina team, lost to a struggling Bucks team, and lost to a good Falcons team and got blown out. Mm-hmm. I just don't see it. I don't see why everybody's so optimistic, because the way I'm seeing it is that they can only beat bad teams, and you don't beat bad teams in those one.
They have 4
And
more
they're not
games for their bye week. They got the Raiders at home, Chargers on the
so
road,
win,
Bears at home,
loss,
Bears at home,
win.
Yes.
and then they're on the bye week.
Who-
Then they're on the road against the Saints. So it's
do
Raiders,
they-
Chargers, Bears, Packers, Saints is their next 5 opponents.
Yeah, I think they should go 3-2 in that stretch, and then be
Okay.
8-4. Should be 8-4, 8-4 in December, or going into Thanksgiving. Because the
Yes,
Saints should be the week before.
They have Green Bay on Thanksgiving on the 23rd.
Right.
That's who they play on. They have a short week because they have. Well, at least they're at home. They have the Bears at home.
Yeah.
And they have the Packers at home the following
Okay.
Thursday with
Okay.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
And they should finish. They should finish. No, they should have no problem going. You know what?
And then,
And then
after they play the Saints, but they have the Bears on the road, home against
Right.
the Broncos. Then they're at Minnesota, at Dallas, and then home to finish against. So they have the Vikings 2 out of the last 3 games. They have Minnesota,
Okay.
then they play Dallas, and they play Minnesota again. So they have the Vikings at the end of the season, which I think would you consider Minnesota the better of the other 3 that are left in that division?
yeah, I would think Minnesota's the best.
Okay.
And I think that week 16 matchup against or week 17 matchup against Dallas is intriguing, but it could be meaningless because Detroit could have the central Jesus Christ could have the North locked up, and Dallas or Philly could have the East locked up, and then you don't have anything to play for,
Right.
and so it could mean absolutely nothing, or it could mean a whole lot. Because Detroit could be, because Philly and Dallas, because you could be looking at playoff seeding, you could be looking at division winning, hosting a playoff game, being, because Dallas could be very easily be hosting, could be looking at the difference between the 5 seed and the 2 seed, and the same thing for Detroit. Detroit could very easily be looking at the difference between the 2 seed and the 5 seed.
Right.
And hosting 2 playoff games or hosting 1 playoff game. Very interesting to see, because if that's a real game, if that's a live game where both teams are planning on playing the starters all the way through, that'll really be a benchmark game for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're making, where is that game? Is it in Dallas?
In Dallas. That's right. Yep.
If Detroit can go into Dallas in a meaningful game and come away with a win, I'll buy it. I'll be a buyer. But if they go down to Dallas, they go down to Jerry World and play Gerald's Cowboys and get waffle stomped, I'm out. I'm done. Because I've seen this song and dance so many times before. So many times before we've been down this road. And it's a new year, we got a new coach, and we finally started winning, and then we go on a skid, we lose 3 out of 4, and we need to win against we need to win 2 of the last 3 games. We need to beat Minnesota twice or beat Minnesota and Dallas in any combination they're in. And we win the division and we make the playoffs and we lose all 3. And we end up 8-9, and it means absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, do you think 8-9 Blood would win the division?
Yeah.
Not if we have 2 losses to Minnesota. If Minnesota takes the division.
Because the
Another
Bucks were 8-9 last year, and they won the division. So I'm just saying, it can happen. You host a playoff game because you're a division winner. So
yeah, but then the 5th seed, and you host Seattle, and you lose 38-30 in overtime
Yeah.
because that's what you do. And then they say wait until next year, and the ownership's too cheap to bring anybody back, so everybody takes off for greener pastures, and you watch your favorite players win Super Bowls on other teams.
Is another crappy division getting in.
You know, even 9-8, win the division, and get shoved by the Cowboys and the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Actually, get ass blasted by one of the better teams.
Right.
Yeah, you get ass blasted by a 12-4 Seahawks team that ended up being
Found your favorite thing, the duct tape.
being the 6th seed.
Oh, boy.
I got it ready.
Okay. God help us all.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially.
I just got to give Adam a hard time. He knows that.
Yeah. In 4 years, we learn better.
Well, hey, he gave you a hard time during the beginning of the show, so you can fire back now. I mean,
exactly.
You can fire back now, so that's fine. That's fine.
There it is.
But with that, gentlemen, we will end the show. Lou, if you want to go ahead and talk about your show on Saturday, fire away.
Okay, it's called We're Getting Duct Taped. I do. I'm here all week. AKA the Enhanced Sports Show.
And I'll bring the duct tape.
Yes, bring it, please. We're on 4 to 6 in the East, 3 to 5 where Gerald is. And we'll talk about the, of course, the World Series, and we'll have a recap of Game 1, assuming there are any highlights to talk about. Well, you never know; it could be a crappy game. Of course, we'll have our
It's going to still be going on.
College and pro football predictions. NHL, NBA first week. Of course, we have some UFC and WWE. Gerald, if you can update us up with the NASCAR playoffs, please, because you're the expertise in that. And of course, we'll also have our regular features, the ridiculous sign of the week. We'll have our sports trivia, this week in sports history, the feel good story of the week, and it's that time where we do our best and worst of the month. So we'll have our best and the worst of October. So remember, the number is 512-543-4662. By the way, it's Halloween week, so try to come in costume if you can. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
I dress up blue.
Also, Lou, on Saturday is the Rugby World Cup final between New Zealand and South Africa. So you'll have a kind of off topic.
Any rugby fans in the audience, if you do, call in. Don't hesitate.
Oh, wait a minute. I changed my mind. I won't go as Lou. I'm going to dress up as Adam for Halloween.
I pay to see
something truly terrifying.
I pay to see it.
With that in mind, I want to thank everyone who tuned in. Thank you to these three gentlemen for making this show so much fun every week. Thanks to our sponsors and the networks that hold our shows. I also want to say thank you to the men and women of our armed services. Thank you so much for what you do. Also to our first responders, thank you for keeping us safe here domestically.
Yes.
We will be back, guys, next week. I already have got some articles for the horror stories in sports. I'll go through them. We'll go through them next week, guys. So we'll have a special show next week. But until then, everyone, stay safe out there. We love all of you guys. Thanks again for making this so much cool on Thursday nights. We'll be back here next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, everyone stay safe. I am the sports nerd, Bradley Walker. Until next week, peace.
Good night, all you ghosts and ghouls out there.
Send it.
Oh.